Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Kyla. Hi, everybody else.
Yes, hi. Welcome to the very first episode of Naughty Narratives.
We are very excited to be doing this together. We are two previous coworkers, actually, who decided to start this podcast, but we are super excited for you guys to be a part of our first episode.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. I'm an indie author. I write under a pen name, but I'm also a very avid fantasy reader, mostly fantasy and romantasy. That pretty much covers that.
I'm not an author yet. That may come in the future for me, but I've been very proud of Kyla and how far she's come with her book. It's been freaking awesome to watch. But me personally, I tend to read a lot of the mystery, a lot of the dark romance. I am very, very avid reader of the dark romance. I love a good smut book. That about covers that for me. I'm an industrial supply, so you guys probably won't hear a lot about my job on this podcast, but
Mine
I'm
either.
really excited to be here and excited to be a part of this. So
yes. So our episode 1, we're going to cover the first half-ish of Onyx Storm.
Yes.
This book was a lot.
So much. It was emotionally brutal.
Definitely. I think I walked away from the book with more questions than answers, but we'll cover the second half of episode 2.
Yes. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with everybody's favorite shadow daddy, Satan.
Yes. Yeah, he happens to be my favorite too.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say he's my favorite. I think I'm more of a Riddick girl myself, but Zayden's number 2.
Riddick is a good. I don't blame you. He's probably second for me, honestly.
I like his sense of humor. Zayden's too serious for me, and it's.
I can understand that. I think I'm right there with you, but I just love the way he talks about Violet.
That's fair. Totally get that. I think Zayden in this book was more lovey-dovey, more.
Oh yeah, I feel like we got to see a side of Zayden that we have honestly never really seen before.
Yeah. He was. I mean, we still got protective shadow daddy Zayden,
right.
But we also got him being much more caring, more concerning, like concerned for Violet, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I felt like he was also more concerned for Violet's people this time around than he was previously.
And getting to know them?
Yeah, like he took the time to actually get close with a few of them. So that was different, very out of character for him, but it kind of makes you wonder if that was really him or if that was, due to other things.
Yeah. There's just there's so much to cover here.
There is.
But I really do feel like Zayden stepped into a new role. So we started out with just them kind of all being criminals.
Right.
And then Zayden got put in as the Duke of Tyrandor, which I think we all were super happy to see.
Oh yeah.
He was pretty much doing it anyway.
I mean, it was kind of one of those things like, why haven't we done this already?
Right. I guess I kind of get it because he hadn't graduated yet, and
right.
Erasha wasn't really part of the Navarre, so to speak. But and then I think my favorite is when he became a professor. We really got to see a very interesting side of him.
I really liked that side of him personally. I thought it was, I know that obviously it was difficult for him and Violet to not be able to touch each other and communicate in the way that they're used to, but I really, really loved watching him in that type of role where he got to care about all of his students and he got to teach everybody. I mean, it's kind of what he was already doing as wing leader before.
Right. Oh. But he got to do it in a whole different way. And we got to see everybody's signets react to different magics and that kind of thing. So I thought that was a lot of fun. And of course, we got one of the best scenes of overprotective shadow daddy, which was when Prince Halden showed up.
Yeah. Yes. And Xaden didn't ever strike me as the jealous type, but that was interesting.
I thought for sure he'd be secure in his relationship.
I thought so too.
And feel secure, but maybe that was part of the whole Venom thing, like that
That's
really
true.
stepped out. But that I loved that. I loved every second of that scene. That was he didn't care that he was committing treason. He didn't care. Like he was like, "Don't touch my girl, ever."
No, I agree, and I feel like that's how it should be.
For sure, for sure. Let's see, and then of course we have General Athos being an ass.
I don't like that man.
He's this portion of the books. What was the name of the asshole that tortured her for like 7 days?
Oh God!
I just called him the asshole. I don't know.
Varish? Was it Varish?
Varish.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah.
Varish.
He. I mean, I think he's the new villain to focus on, other than the Venom overall. But
which is interesting, with his son kind of being the enemy to lovers.
Right. Oh yeah. Dane's redemption arc was definitely here. We all felt for Dane. And I don't know if we all started to feel for Dane after watching Rebecca's interview, where she was like, he's a 21-year-old boy just trying to make his father proud, like he's gonna make mistakes. And then we all read the book and we were like, oh, Dane, we feel for you. Or if we were all just like, damn, Dane has been through a lot. I mean,
honestly, for me, I think it was the comedy behind all of it.
yeah, that's fair.
The man was being treated, and nobody wanted to listen to him. Nobody wanted to be around him, and
yeah, he lost a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he made a pretty good comeback. This book, but we can get into that because that's more of an episode 2 thing too.
Very true.
This book is just so involved.
It is, and it's kind of difficult to talk about because I feel like in the beginning of the book, it's so there's obviously stuff going on. It's just not as climactic as the ending or the last few chapters of the book. It's different types of anticipation. You know, you're anticipating the end of the book at one point, and at this point, you're kind of anticipating like what's going to happen next with Xaden being Venom, what's going to happen next with Violet. It's, I don't know.
Right. And then we have our favorite Quest Squad. I want a Quest Squad t-shirt. I need one.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
Like every time I see one on TikTok shop, which, as you know, I have fallen victim to, ended up with allergic reaction last night.
You guys should have seen this.
Oh no.
Yes. She couldn't stop coughing.
Yeah, I bought this stuff that's supposed to help lower your cortisol levels. I drank half of my water, and I had mixed it with like 20 ounces of water, and it tastes awful. Lies straight through that tasted so awful. I ended up using a bunch of Mio to try to cover up the taste, and then I ended up like dying from it. So if anybody wants a pack that is super mellow, I have it. I can't drink it. Anyway,
we'll link it in the comments.
Yeah. Anyway, I need a Quest Squad shirt.
Yes. Have you listened to the Quest Squad Spotify playlist that's been released? It's called like Riddick's JBL.
I've seen it. I have not listened to it, but I have seen it. If Riddick had a speaker, it would have been a totally, like, if they had some modern technology, it would have been a totally different book. Because Riddick would definitely be like boombox over the head, just
100%.
Oh my gosh. So I feel like a lot of it led up to Quest Squad. So we got rid of Prince Halden and his stupid Easter basket.
Yes.
That's what it reminded me of.
That was so good.
I died reading. I literally imagined it as like a little kid's Easter basket that the Griffins were holding on. Not like a
That's
big air balloon
amazing.
basket. No, just like a little
Oh,
kid.
just little, yep.
Mhm. Um, so, and I think that was so needed. We needed to get rid of Prince Halden out of there. I think that Xaden would have killed him and committed treason if they had actually
Yeah.
gone on
I
quest
think things would
together.
have ended a lot more poorly than how things went.
I mean, the dude can't negotiate to save his life.
No,
So
and we all got to
literally,
see that. I mean, quite literally, like,
he almost got them all killed. Gosh. And if it
by
weren't for Xaden and Violet, it would have been bad.
what kind of animals did that guy have again? Didn't he have like cougars or something that
Like
were,
snow leopards or something, like white tigers.
yeah.
Tigers. I'm pretty sure they were tigers.
I think you're right. I think it was tigers. Like, what the
The
I
heads
mean,
on the
okay.
plates. I love that the rest of
Yeah,
the book, Violet's like, it's not a head, right? Like, you're not disturbing me.
I know.
Been there, done that. Don't want to do it again.
No.
Everybody's like, who the fuck did you eat food with that served you a head on a platter?
Well, poor Garrick for the rest of his life is going to have to go through checking his cake to make sure it's
I know.
not poison.
He's gonna be looking at Violet like, is it
Are you
poison? Am
sure?
I allowed?
Are you sure this water is sanitary? Oh my goodness.
They're never gonna be able to eat anywhere ever again. Garrick can
No.
never have a slice of cake ever again.
I'll be traumatized.
uh, oh, that's so funny. Well, I guess we're kind of there in that chapter. We learned a lot about Xaden's family in that aisle.
We did.
Meeting his mom.
Yeah, that was unexpected, honestly.
I mean, there was always the theories out there, of course,
Right.
that we would meet his mom because he doesn't talk about her, but to actually meet her, she's kind of, I don't know if I would say damsel in distress or like, I don't know, the whole situation seemed kind of like sad, but also like that you could have worked harder for it.
Yeah, like I don't know. There were certain parts where I kind of wanted to feel some sort of sympathy towards her, but then it was also just like, no, that's your kid. Like, what
Right.
mother does that to their kid? It doesn't
Well,
matter, even if you had to be with the man. Like,
and
no.
to up and leave Xaden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, really part of me was like contract marriage, like that whole situation sucks so bad. I feel for her. But then on the other hand, I'm like, that's your son. And
Yeah.
you just left him behind. And then had a whole nother family.
A whole new family.
Yep. And you never reached out. You never, nothing. You just.
No. You never considered the fact that your son might want to know his brothers, whether they're biological to him or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Real life standard of that stuff's not okay.
No. We did get Violet poisoning people again, which I thought was a full come circle moment.
I did too. That was amazing.
And in Fourth Wing, when Xaden says something along the lines of, don't direct quote me because I'm just remembering this off the top of my head, but he's like, you're not going to be able to poison their tea in time in battle. She fucking did, Xaden. You were wrong.
She proved your ass wrong.
Yeah, she really did. She was like, bet.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a clever. This book really highlighted Violet's intelligence more than Iron Flame did. Iron Flame, she was I kind of hated her a little bit, won't lie.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of the book it's been somewhat difficult just due to her constantly being, what is the right word for this? Like needy and not able to be independent. There were a lot of things she needed help with, or she would get hurt and then she would need assistance. And I mean, obviously that's just the life of a chronic illness girly, but
don't we know it?
Yeah. But it's, I don't know, it almost gets to a point where it is slightly infuriating that she cannot do anything for herself or on her own without her squad, or without Xaden.
Right. Well, and I think we'll have a good in the next book, which we have to wait so fucking long for.
I
I think in the
know.
next book we'll have a good like self-confidence boost for her. At least I hope so. But I felt like we focused on her intelligence a lot more and her personal growth that way this book,
Right.
which I really loved because Iron Flame really killed me on her a little bit.
Yeah.
No hate, Rebecca. It was a really good character arc, but if I hadn't read Iron Flame, if I hadn't read them all consecutively, one after the other, I would have been a little pissed off. Anyway,
Yeah.
we
Understandable.
also had like a pull at the heartstrings moment there where Riddick got stabbed by that chef.
Oh my God. I was crying immediately. I didn't even get to the end of the sentence.
Neither.
Immediately started bawling.
Yeah, no, I was listening on my driving to work and I was just sobbing and I was like, I
Yeah.
have to get myself together. I have a full work day ahead. And I didn't even get to finish that scene until I thought he was dead. Like I was like, Riddick just died. And it
I
was
remember
awful.
texting you and being like, oh my God. And then 30 seconds later being like, never mind.
Literally, you were like, you were like, I fucking hate this book. And then you were like, never mind, it's all good.
It's like, I don't want to fucking read it anymore. And then the end of the page, I was like, oh, laughing instead of crying at that point.
Yeah, trauma. Thank you. Fucking trauma.
I hate sewing.
Yes. And same, man. I
Me
am not
too.
good at
Not
it.
good at it. No.
I also love that he had 4 uniforms, but only 1 flight jacket.
I
Come on, man.
know.
Get it together. Especially with the prank wars that he's got going on with Atrium, he should have had more than 1 fucking flight jacket.
Literally. I love him and Atrium's relationship, and I know that this is more episode 2, but I really wish that he would have gotten more just time during the book. I know we got a lot of him in the beginning, but
we need a chapter from Riddick's point of view.
Yeah,
hands
we
down.
do.
We absolutely need it. It would be great comedic relief. Which is probably why we didn't get it at the end of
Probably
Onyx
not,
Storm.
honestly.
It wouldn't be.
That's fair.
But yes, Riddick hating sewing, and then the aisle where they had to get gifts and not react. That was
interesting.
insane.
That was I don't know. I felt like we were all kind of on a high because of Eric and Dane making the jokes about Eric knowing the languages and Dane just struggling, and then all of a sudden we got thrown into Traeger essentially just being murdered.
Mm-hmm. And you can react, and like
no,
I don't know if anybody else is like this, but I'm the person that's like, I'm there. So
yeah. So
I'm like,
you act
Traeger
like
just
you're part of
died,
the
and I'm
book.
like, I have to not react to
Yeah.
Traeger's death, and then like tears are just
Absolutely.
streaming down.
That was I felt so bad for
brutal.
Kat in that moment.
Yes.
Because she had come.
I hated her originally, but like,
Yeah,
damn.
me too. But she had come so far, and I actually got to a point where I really liked her and Violet's relationship. Like, it was comedic, it was fun to read, and she didn't deserve that. I mean, neither did Traeger, obviously.
No.
I mean, just out of all of them, why was he the one?
Right? Like,
You know?
I literally sat there and was just like, damn. And then all I could think about is we've already lost Traeger. Who the fuck are we gonna lose next?
Well, yeah.
Because it seemed like, and we won't like. It felt like this whole book was a lead up to people dying. Like we almost had Taryn dying
multiple times.
Yes, but the first time with Theophany did the tornado, and he got slammed into the mountain. I literally, I almost had to turn the book off.
I shut the book. I did. Yeah, I was like, I need a second.
I'm Rebecca, if you're listening, if you decide to listen, I will not finish this series out if Taryn dies. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that I would be able to, honestly. The way that I thought he was dead originally. I stopped reading there for a little while, and I was like, how are we going to finish a book series without one of the main, most important characters? Because I mean, he is probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite character.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Like, without a doubt, he's such a father figure, and he's so respected. And if Taryn dies, Liam's death was a waste.
Yeah. And I love his dry humor. He keeps a dry humor throughout everything, and I love that.
Having to stop Indarna from eating random animals. And Darna just wants to eat everything. What did she say? One of these days I'm not going to ask. And
yeah, she was just going to do it.
He's like, whatever. You're going to do it, and you're going to regret it, and I'm not going to fucking help you. And I'm like, that is so me as a mom. I'm like,
yeah,
whatever.
100%.
One of these days you'll learn, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know, I really liked watching Indarna's her character development throughout the entire series, but especially in Onyx Storm. I mean, she just was really her own goddamn self. Like, she did not give a shit about anything. And I know that was probably the teenager in her, because I think that's about the point of time she's in. But we were all like that as kids. I mean, especially in our teenage years. So I don't know. I love watching her grow. It's been so much fun.
She's such a sweet soul. And so all she wants to do is make somebody proud of her.
Right.
Taryn, usually. She looks up to him so much. And that's just such a, like, their relationship is so important, you know, like
right.
You just want that everybody to stay together. But yeah, Rebecca, I won't finish the series out of Taryn.
No.
I will shut that book so fucking fast. I will pretend it never happened, and the book ended on a storm. Which
respectfully, I'm
off.
concerned to read a series that doesn't have Xaden. Like, I'm nervous to read the rest of the series without Xaden being, or knowing that Xaden's going to be in the next book. I mean, obviously, he's probably going to be in the next book, but how much of him are we actually going to see? What's really going to, I don't know. There's just so much with that.
Luckily, she kind of has, like, started switching. We're going way into episode 2 now.
I know.
Hold up.
I know.
Getting a little ahead of ourselves. We're going to just do all of Onyx Storm in one go, but there's so much to talk about. Let's see. Okay, we'll go back to the trials, because this is something we wrote down that we wanted to talk about. Do you think Dane got any memories when he got slapped?
Honestly, with the way that Rebecca likes to hide her foreshadowing, I would not be surprised if he did.
I'm just so curious as to, because in Fourth Wing, it really is hammered hard that he has to touch Violet to get the memories.
Right.
But can it be the other way around? We just don't know. We haven't really explored Dane's signet as much as we did the others.
That's true. And I don't know. I feel like there's more to Dane that we just aren't really seeing yet, that's kind of been hidden from us fully, not just regarding his signet, but him personally too. I feel like.
Right. There's a whole childhood there. I feel like we're missing. I really do feel like we need more on Dane to really make a determination whether or not we love him or hate him.
Yeah. Because I mean, the stuff that he does is understandable in a lot of ways, but also if my friend was doing that shit to me, I'd be like, fuck you, dude.
Right. Like, that really is a testament to Violet and her ability to forgive, because
it really is. And she's good with that stuff. I don't know that I'd be as forgiving as her in certain situations.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't be.
Like Kat, for example.
I mean, she forgave Xaden
for emotions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she forgave Xaden for quite a few fucking shit in Fourth Wing, and then I could understand this stuff in Iron Flame, but we also, speaking of Dane, probably my favorite moment in the whole fucking book is them at that library getting the books that her dad left for her. I cackled through that
that
whole
shit was
fucking
funny.
scene.
That was so good. I don't think anybody expected it to go like that, and that was half the comedy. It just kind of awestruck everybody while reading it.
Excuse me. I also love that like Mira like just lost her shit laughing. She was like,
Yeah.
"This is the funniest fucking thing."
And I love that Xaden didn't freak. Like in a normal Xaden situation with Dane like that, he would have lost his mind. And he didn't.
Nope. I feel like everybody just kind of was like, oh, that's awkward as fuck. But it was so funny. I think it's funny that her dad just assumed that she'd end up with Dane in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the missives, that's what they call them in the book. This is gonna drive me fucking crazy. The missives that Lilith sent to her dad, which I can't remember his name right now either, about her having a terrible taste in men.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which
it's
just
hysterical.
So funny.
Because I wonder in that situation though if they were talking about Dane or if they were speaking about the prince.
Oh, they were definitely talking about Halden.
Yeah.
They had to have been talking about Halden. And then he just hoped that she'd end up marrying Dane because of their friendship.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because she ended up with Xaden and they freaking hated Ryerson's, you know, and they thought Xaden was gonna kill her.
Right.
But in fact, they were both very much had the hots for one another from the get-go.
Yes. Actually, Kyla and I were talking about this before we started our podcast today. We were talking about Xaden's intrinsic ability before meeting Violet and before she crosses the parapet. I mean, we all know what her reaction was when she saw him. There's no way that he didn't know.
And like you just know that he was like, man, I'm supposed to hate this bitch, but she finds me so hot.
It's too good.
Oh, I just hit my desk. Oh man, their whole relationship is just so funny to me.
It really, I love the connection that she has with all of her friends in the book.
Yes. Like, have you seen the memes about Xaden and Violet arguing, but they're in their heads, and just everybody else in the room? My favorite is where it's like Riddick and Ree are sitting there like, ooh, they're arguing, and like Dane walks in, he's like, how do you know they're arguing? And it's because they're just like looking at each other, and then they're like, oh, they're gonna start fucking, we need to go.
Oh, we were gonna talk about too how awkward it must have been for General Soaringale to be living at the college and seeing all these lightning strikes go off 24/7 in the middle of the night.
And know that they're coming from her.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, man. Yes, your daughter's just getting railed. And I mean, Dan, could you imagine Dan in that moment?
I just imagine his overprotective self being so disappointed.
Right.
Just like,
and wishing it was him the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have Riddick going, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Got Riddick with a speaker and he's
Yeah. If Riddick could hear Taryn and heard Taryn go, should I get the wing leader? Violet would never hear the fucking end of that.
No. Nope. I do think it would be interesting if they all had access to one another's bonds, like to be able to listen.
We don't know very much about Violet's second signet or even Xaden's.
That's true.
For that matter.
Well, and we don't really know a lot about. I mean, it's pretty common that Taryn will talk to all of the dragons, but we don't ever really hear those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting. Yeah.
And Violet has also talked to other dragons, which isn't super common. Not to their heads,
Yeah.
but like she will like was it Coda that she had blast
Kodag.
blast the wards in Iron Flame as the
Yeah.
black dragon, and you're just like she just straight up told him like I don't give a fuck, you're blowing
Yeah.
blow some flames on this rock, please.
Which I think everybody was kind of shocked about too, because I mean, humans have no control over what dragons do or dragon law. So it was interesting that he just kind of knelt down, and that brings me back to Taryn being one of the strongest dragons. I feel like
Yeah,
there's a lot of subtle foreshadowing happening, especially in the beginning of the book with Taryn getting hurt, that's just like proof that he's got to be, I mean, if he's as old as he is, why is he not one of the elders, is what I'm curious about.
yeah, yep,
And why is Kodag considered to be the strongest when Kodag generally isn't the one out fighting these battles? It's Taryn. So
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just find that interesting. I feel like there's going to be some kind of character development or story development along those two's history.
For sure, for sure. Well, and we know that Taryn hated Solas too with
Hmm.
like a burning passion.
Yeah. Solus is a Jack's dragon, right?
No, it was Varish's dragon.
Oh, oh, that's right. Yeah.
They killed him
Right. Yeah.
in the caves, whatever. And Darna did, didn't she?
Yeah. I'm pretty positive. I think you're
I
right.
can't remember. It's been too long. Let me go back to listen to Iron Flame again. Hold on.
I know.
Which isn't even what we're supposed to be talking about.
No. But
God
it
damn it.
does lead into the beginning of Onyx Storm, at least ever so slightly.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, no, it does. One thing I wanted to talk about, and I think this is my craziest conspiracy theory, whatever, about the book. We talk a lot about magic balance in Onyx Storm, like a ton about magic balance. We find out um, we have another shadow wielder, which scares the shit out of Xaden. We don't have another lightning wielder. We think Theophany is the maybe. It was kind of fun.
It was pretty funny. We'll see. We'll see. But let's dive back in. You were just talking about double signets, essentially. Like,
Yes. So we have Brennan and Nolan as both being menders, which should upset the balance of magic, which is kind of why I'm wondering if, because Theophany mentions a couple times that this is a rare moment where they can upset the balance of magic, and I wonder if it's already fucked up with two menders. But how did we get two menders? Because we had,
right.
I mean, Nolan's old, so he's been a mender for a while.
Right.
And then Brennan's a little younger. Could Nolan be Venom?
Possibly, but I don't know. I feel like at least I think it's Fourth Wing specifically, that where Nolan is insane about healing Violet all of the time, and I don't know. I feel like with how beaten down he is described to look, that he wouldn't be Venom, because if he was, he wouldn't look that way. He wouldn't look ragged and tired.
But he's always been behind the wards.
That's true.
And Jack couldn't survive behind the wards without Violet.
That's true.
So we also don't ever meet Nolan's dragon.
No, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, because we meet pretty much everybody else's dragon, but we don't meet Nolan's. Brennan still has his dragon.
Right.
But it could be a whole Scale situation where Scale stayed with Xaden even though he had turned.
Right.
I don't know. I just find that whole situation interesting. And a lot of people get it confused with the healer's quadrant, like Nolan being part of the healer's quadrant, but he's not. He has a signet. He is a rider.
Right.
Because he uses magic, not tinctures and salves and stuff like that. He uses those too, but with the help of the healers.
Exactly. I don't know, because there's also a lot of people confusing Nolan and Naolan, like we discussed. And so I feel like I don't know. It's hard to narrow down which theory is most correct because most of the people reading the books are getting them confused.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, and it's hard because they're when you're listening. So fun fact for our listeners: I'm an audiobook person more recently due to chronic illness, and she's more of a typical reader. I'm like pointing at you, but with the wrong hand. So in the audiobooks, it's hard to tell the difference. They sound very similar from the narrators.
Interesting.
And if it weren't for the fact that I had read Fourth Wing before getting sick, read the physical copy, I don't think I would have known that there was a difference. Same with Jasenia being deaf. Everybody thought that the scribes were just silent.
That was hilarious to me. The amount of people that were like, wait, the whole quadrant doesn't just do that?
Yeah. Which I thought was funny. But it seems like sign language is very common knowledge.
Right.
I mean, obviously, Sawyer didn't know sign. For some reason, I was saying Garrick in my head, and I was like, "That's not right. That's not who was going after Jasenia."
No, cutie little old Sawyer.
Yes.
And his missing
I'm also
leg.
super stoked. Yes, I'm stoked that he got back on his dragon. I think that's huge. And I hope that. Yes, please. Sorry, my husband's bringing me a Dr.
Pepper. He's like Hiccup. He's the Hiccup of our generation. I love it.
Yes. And I hope he keeps getting better. I can only imagine how hard losing a limb is.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how the whole series is very inclusive? I mean, you have Violet, which we know has EDS. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. You have Jasenia, who's deaf. We have Sawyer, who's missing a limb. I just love how inclusive the whole book series is.
I feel like it was also very inclusive, like race-wise. We know that Xaden is not white, and I feel like it's pretty described that like Garrick and Bodhi, I'm pretty positive, are not fully white either. They have, at least they're described as having like tan, beautiful skin, and so I think that that's cool because I mean, the names aren't they all like Scottish or something like that? Scottish Gaelic or something?
The dragons are,
yeah, right. Because I find that really cool, and I know isn't Rhiannon black?
Yeah, I think so.
She's described as black. Yeah, I don't know. I found that really cool, just because you don't see a lot of writers who really take the time to differentiate characteristics beyond like hair color and eye color. So I liked that she did that.
And I do too. And from an author standpoint, it's kind of hard sometimes to include those descriptions in a way that flows.
I bet.
Well, at least I struggle. I struggle with character descriptions. I kind of am more the person that just kind of lets you make it up as you go, unless there's something specific I want the character.
Yeah.
Anyway, you'll learn as you read my book, because I just gave Maddie my book. So
yes, I'm very excited for it. I haven't unboxed it yet. It's sitting right next to me though, and I'm ready to.
Take your time. I don't. As you know, I'm happy that you're gonna read it, but I'm also like, get to it when you get to it. We have a lot that we want to do.
We do.
I feel like if we get much further, we're going to be getting into episode 2. How do you feel?
I was kind of thinking the same thing. Although we did really want to cover the irids, however we want to pronounce it, being assholes.
They are. So we'll go all the way up to the meeting. First of all, Andarna gave them her whole life story.
Yeah, the entire thing. And they acted like it was her fault for being the way that she is,
for being a child.
Yeah, it's like you guys left her at a war college, knowing it was a war college, and you're supposed to be some of the most brilliant dragons minds on the planet, and yet You didn't know that she was gonna turn into a warrior when you left her at a war college?
And
Like,
so fucking what?
yeah.
You can be peaceful
Yeah.
and like as a whole, but also know when to stand the fuck up for yourself and fight back. And I think that that's exactly what we're getting to. I really think in the next book the Irids are gonna have to fight, but
I think
you
so
can
too.
be peaceful and vouch for peace and try being peaceful and try resolving things through different ways. But knowing how to stand up for yourself, fight, and use your magic in that kind of way is also totally fucking acceptable. And she's a child, yep. God damn it. She's a literal child.
You left her with the Empyrean. The Empyrean raised her as they would raise any other dragon hatchling.
Yep.
What the fuck did you expect?
Yep. That was fucking terrible.
I didn't appreciate the way they talked to her at all.
Yeah, no, I had to put the book down for a minute.
Yeah.
I had to pause, scroll on TikTok. I'm pretty sure I sent you some shit. I was like, I need a minute because I'm livid. I'm enraged.
Well, as two people who deal with that type of personality pretty frequently, I feel like that's why it frustrated us so much. I'm sure there's a lot of other women out there that are like that too, but it was just it was an infuriating part of the book to read, definitely.
Right, absolutely. But I'd love to get more into detail about Andarna, and there's a whole reason we didn't talk about much about her because we have a lot to cover in episode 2.
Episode 2.
Such as, where the fuck is Broccoli?
Yeah, where the fuck is Broccoli? Also, where the fuck I'm gonna butcher her name, and all of you can make fun of me for it in the comments, but where is Sigil? Where is she? Did she stay with Xaden? Where is she? Like, guys, we have a lot to cover.
Oh, yeah. It took me a second.
Because she's not described at the end of the book.
No. We'll definitely have to get into that. I'm so excited for episode 2.
Me too. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into episode 1. We hope that you enjoyed it and hope you decide to stick around and continue watching.
Yes, and if you're an indie author or you know a small author that you want to support, send us their name and book title, and we'll read it and do a little deep dive like we have here.
Yeah, you can DM us on any social media. We'll also go ahead and link our email below, but we're always open to any inquiries you guys have.
Yes. Much love.
Much love. We will see you guys later. Bye.